Hey, welcome back to my channel, Focus with Kelly. I'm Kelly, and today I just want to focus on entrepreneurship being hard. I just finished watching a video that made me smile. That's why I'm like kind of giggly right now. But anyway, let me tell y'all something. When I decided that I wanted to open up my own business, when I decided that I wanted to be a business consultant, I was so excited. I was bucked up. I'm like, I have all this information. I can't wait to get it out to the people because, this is facts. I got experience. I got all of these things, right? And I was just so hyped. I couldn't wait to get started, right? And at the time I was working, I still work. I still have a job. I was working a job that pays my bills. And then life started happening, and life started like kicking my behind, and there was nothing that I could do to control it. It was like no matter what decisions that I decided I was going to do, like life was going to happen, and life was just lifing at that point. And you know what? While life was happening, I still had to show up for work. And my job didn't care what I had going on in my personal life because, they were paying me to complete a task. But my business wasn't paying me at that point. I wasn't making no money. So I wasn't showing up for my business because of what I was going through in my personal life, but I still had to show up for my job because I didn't want to get fired. So one of the things that I had a hard time when I first started my business is actually just showing up for myself because once I got off and I would go into my mind thinking about what was going on, I just didn't feel like showing up for my business. And I think that's one of the most hardest things to do as an entrepreneur because it is a journey. It is very rewarding, but it can be so mentally and emotionally tasking because there was times that I didn't show up for myself because who was gonna make me? Like I ain't gonna fire me. I ain't like what I'm gonna do to me. I wasn't gonna do nothing to me, but what I was doing to myself was damaging to my business because I wasn't able to be consistent. And when you're not consistent, there are no rewards, and that means there's no money, there's no profit. So when you get into being a business person, you want to say, you know what, I want to open up my business. You have to be mentally and emotionally ready to take on tasks even when you don't feel like it. You see, when I'm at work, there's somebody saying, Kelly, I need financial statements. There's somebody saying, Kelly, um, what else? Or whatever was going on with work, something they needed something from me, and even though I wasn't able to emotionally to give, I was, I knew how to do my job with my eyes closed, and I could just go through the motions. But once it was time for me to work on my business, I didn't have any more energy. I ain't had nothing to give to me. And so once I had to realize, like, Kelly, you showing up for this company, but Kelly, you ain't showing up for you. And then I remember thinking while I had my 9 to 5, there would be times where I would be sick, and I have kids. So I wouldn't take a sick day for myself because I'm like, well, what if my kids get sick or whatever? I would wait to use my sick days in case one of my kids got sick. So I would go to work with my little Dayquil or my emergency, and I would just have it on my desk, and I would have some Lysol, and this is like pre-pandemic, sneeze, cough, and then shh, and then that's how I would show up. And I remember just thinking to myself, I was going through some relationship troubles, and I was just so sad, but I still had to pull into the parking lot and just get out of the car, go into the building, and see people and be like, hey, good morning, good morning. No, I didn't feel like it. It wasn't no good morning. It was morning, but ain't nothing was good about it. And I would just get to work. But then I didn't have that same energy, that bare minimum to give to myself and my own company. And I just want you to really sit there and think about, we give so much of ourselves to companies just to get a paycheck. And granted, there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. Some of us go to school for many years to be able to do what we're doing. There's nothing wrong with the 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong if you're working as a nurse, a doctor, a lawyer, a pharmacist, a cashier, a warehouse person, um, an operations manager. Oh, Lord, human resources, whatever profession that you may be in, truck driver, garbage picker up, a janitor, whatever. There is pride in all work. And whenever you go to work and you good with what you're doing, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5. But I'm thinking my purpose is the same energy that we put in when we pull up to a 9 to 5 when we're not feeling good. We got to put that same energy and pour into our own business when we don't feel good and when we don't feel like it. That was the hardest thing for me when starting my business, was working when I didn't feel like it, because it wasn't a requirement. Nobody was saying, Kelly, I need this. Kelly, I need that. Kelly, I need this. Nobody was over my shoulder saying that. I had to mentally prepare myself to be like, Kelly, today I'm going to focus on, today you're going to focus on marketing. Kelly, today you're going to focus on accounting. Kelly, today you are going to focus on content. You're going to focus on rules and regulations for your business. I had to create tasks and then make a mental effort to complete them when I didn't feel like it. And, you know, it's hard doing a job when you don't feel like it. So when that's one of the things I would have to say when starting my own business. That was the most difficult thing for me, showing up for me when I just wasn't in a mental space to do so. And I know everybody's all like, they need mental health days, but y'all, I need like mental health months. And when you're trying to make money, you just can't take that much time off if you're not like a multi-millionaire or a multi-billionaire. You just don't have that type of time. So it's just, figuring out a way to balance work life and business life. So that's one of the biggest things that I just had an issue with. And how did I resolve that? I just made myself be responsible. There were objectives that I had to create and say, I need this to be done by this date. And I held myself to a standard, the same standard that I held myself when it came to working for somebody else. I held myself to that standard when it came to working for me, because like, why am I going to show up for somebody who I barely like just because they're giving me a paycheck? Like, if I'm opening up a business, I'm hoping that my business will turn a profit. So I need to put that same energy into me that I'm putting into someone else, even when I don't feel like it. That is like the hardest thing, showing up for yourself when you don't feel like it, showing up for yourself when you're tired, showing up for yourself when you're going through heartache, showing up for yourself when your finances may not be in the best place. I'm trying to start a new business. Maybe I should be getting a second job, or you know what I'm saying? And just having that confidence and that belief in yourself, like, I can do this. Like, I would not have a vision to start this if I couldn't do it. And you got to really push yourself sometimes to just show up for you, pour into you. I hear a lot of people say all the time, I want to open up a boutique because I'm passionate about fashion. I'm passionate about selling hair bundles. I'm passionate about making bars of soap. You got all this passion, right? But what happens when you have to rely on your passion as a form of income? Something has to motivate you. And that's why it's important to have clarity and understand why it is you are doing what you are doing. Because there are going to come times, and I got to keep on reiterating it, well, you just don't feel like it. Like, I ain't doing this today. Nope, I ain't gonna. I have the option to go to bed. Who's going to tell me what to do? Nobody. You have to hold yourself to a standard. Create a standard for yourself to be able to do even when you don't feel like it. Working for me, what I was able to do personally, I was like, you know what, from 12 to 1 I'm gonna work on this, from 1 to 2 I'm gonna work on this. I had to just give myself little time blocks, because if I didn't fill my day with actual work that I needed to do for my business, then whatever was on my heart at that time would just consume me. And it wasn't pretty. There were many times that I just felt like giving up, because it's just like, first of all, I want to do this business, but I'm just not in the mental space to do this business. And then on top of that, I ain't even making no money. Like, why am I doing this? Is it worth it? You know? So, a lot of times you just have to be mindful of your purpose, why you're actually starting your business, what is it that you hope to obtain for the business, and to understand that you got to pull yourself from the bootstraps even when you don't feel like it, you know, because no matter what, when I was working a 9 to 5, life happened and I still had to show up for my 9 to 5. Otherwise, my kids wasn't going to be able to eat. Otherwise, my mortgage wasn't going to be able to get paid, you know, and that's the same thing you got to be like for your business. If you don't show up for yourself, like, starting a business, the first part of self-employment is self, so you got to figure out how to make self be okay when you are running your business. And then you have to have little things that you do when self is not okay, but self still has to run the business. Those are things that I think you should think about. How much time do you take off for a mental health day, because you can't take 6 months off and still be profitable if you haven't positioned yourself to be profitable, if you don't have like a lot of money. Let's just be honest. But some days I just remember like getting burnt out, and then I became overwhelmed, and I'm like, I'm doing too much, and so I was just like, you know what, on Friday I stopped working at noon. And you develop office hours, and people like to say, well, you working, when you are first starting your business, you're in just like hustle mode, grind mode. I work all hours of the night, but you'll burn yourself out. You'll become so overwhelmed. So it's just like 5 o'clock, I'm done with business. No emails, no text messages, nothing regarding business. Like, business hours are from 9 to 5, and that includes, for me, if I got to get up a little bit earlier, maybe start my day at 8:30 to get my day started, and end my day at 4:30 to get prepared for the next day, but still have that little small gap for customers and clients. That's fine. But working 18, 19-hour days and still having another job, it's just not possible. So as an entrepreneur, I think you should really figure out how you're going to manage self when life happens, because it's easy to manage self when life is going good. When everything's all good, you're going with the flow. Home life is good, relationship life is good, work life is good, kid life is good, everything going good, you're just going with the flow. But as soon as something breaks up the momentum, just like, so that's just my little spiel. I just kind of wanted to hop on here and say that, like, that was one of the rough patches for me in starting my business. Showing up when I was going through something, showing up when I didn't feel like it. Because in your business, when you're just starting, you have to be consistent. And I wasn't consistent. I didn't feel like being consistent. And there was no reward for me to reap because I wasn't doing the work. And it's so easy to get off the path when you're going through something. So I just kind of wanted to share that. And yeah, so if you got something for this video, like, subscribe, and that'll be it. But yeah, that's Focus with Kelly's video for this week. Y'all have a good day. Thank you. I'm still tickled.